We have a fairly progressive weather pattern as storm complex move across the country from west to east over the course of the next week. So we'll break down the details. Plus, we'll take a look at the extended range. Here is the surface map this morning. And there it is in the Gulf of Mexico. That is Hurricane Rafael. Yesterday, it actually went through rapid intensification as it came out of the Cayman Islands and then accelerated to a major hurricane, made landfall in Cuba as a 115 mile per hour hurricane. Now it's on the other side and it's in the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. We talked about with this kind of ridge of high pressure that's locked over the East Coast, so it'd have to steer it further west, and that's exactly what's happening. Now we're going to be having this cold front come into play that's bringing all the heavy snow and the winter storm that's just cranking out the heavy snow this morning across Colorado into New Mexico, even portions of the Oklahoma panhandle, even the Texas panhandle is actually seeing their first snowfall of the season as temperatures are actually below freezing right now. The snow is just fallen pretty heavily in that neck of the woods, but you can see the return flow of the Gulf of Mexico that opens up the door. So you have the lift coming in from that upper level low. Now it's going to provide overturning conditions again, bringing back the showers and thunderstorms across a good part of Texas over the next couple of days. And we'll actually have a lot of wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico that will keep Rafael pretty tame and actually kind of weaken it as it traverses across, continuing through the Gulf. So here is the overall setup. We've got this, pretty significant trough that will dive into the Four Corners region. That's bringing all the cooler temperatures to them. They're finally getting a really good break down there in the deserts out. They went through a brutal summer. Now they're getting the colder air and the snow flying in the higher elevations. And there is Rafael continuing to move across the Gulf because the ridge of high pressure is moving it that way. And it will continue to move it that way. And it's still going to be fighting a lot of that wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico. And believe it or not, actually some drier air as well. So, but there's the colder anomalies is out here where the snow is flying and where that upper level low is across a good part of the Intermountain West, the Southwest, and portions of Colorado as well as into New Mexico. There's the warmer conditions out ahead of it as it opens the door again for the Gulf to tap into all that those higher sea surface temperature anomalies down there, and that's going to spell more showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could actually turn severe later on this afternoon across West Texas. It's not like a significant event, but we should start to see more hail coming back in the picture across West Texas and more rain spreading into West Texas and western portions of, say, North Texas. And then we'll have the shearing happening in the Gulf that will spread as Rafael kind of weakens. It will actually spread some of its precipitation back in over the portions of the southeast and actually have some heavier rains today across portions of Georgia as well as into South Carolina. But there is the overall setup. We've got these little vorticities with the main event happening across the Four Corners regions that's bringing the snow in the Texas Panhandle. There's Rafael, and then we actually have yet another system back behind it. The National Hurricane Center is watching, has about a 30% probability of becoming its own storm as well, as it's still fairly active for November down there in the tropics. So we're watching every storm that comes out of the Caribbean, but we're also watching the heavy rain, which would likely unfold yet again as this upper level low will get a little bit closer. Now it's setting up in perfect alignment, so it does in fact tap into that Gulf, and that's when we are going to be seeing numerous showers and thunderstorms spread across Texas from west to east and feed into Oklahoma. They got a good dosing of rain just over the last 5 days. Some of those areas have picked up 6 to 10 inches. Even Arkansas, Missouri had a lot of excessive flooding. This area has been really wet after a very dry October, and I think it's going to continue actually on the wet side. So I think Friday is going to be a rainy day as that low pressure system will be moving across. You got the snow continuing to fly on the backside on the colder side of the storm. You got Raphael continuing to be out in the open waters of the Gulf. And then you have the lift. It's spreading the heavier rains. A lot of the heavier rains likely unfolds as we get into the evening time frame. As we hit maybe the 5 o'clock time frame, it's going to be a wet night, wet night for your Friday night lights out there in Texas and Oklahoma and a good part of Kansas, as this will continue to move across to the east. And as it does, it's going to start to weaken. So you have the low pressure center. It's going to be coming out of the Texas Panhandle, going to be lifting northeast. So now it's setting up shop across Nebraska, and you'll still get the feeders. So you got the combination of the shearing that's going to be taking place in the Gulf as Raphael starts to lose its luster down there. As it starts to weaken, it's going to spread its precipitation back inland, combined with that upper level low. So places like into Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, you're going to get a good dosing again during the day on Saturday. And as this continues to spread further north into Illinois as well as in Iowa, but by the time we head into Sunday, again, that's going to continue to weaken further north. So now it's setting up across Wisconsin, those areas. And then you'll just have some lighter showers taking place across the mid-Atlantic, while continued Raphael but continues to be on the weaker side and continue to weaken into a tropical storm by then, maybe even a tropical depression. But overall, as far as like your temperature anomalies, there's the cold air is really where the snow is across this region. But other than that, it's been fairly warm for November standards, and the only cooler air in town is going to be where that upper level low is that's moving across. And then we'll reset next week, right? So we'll reset next week. It starts to warm back up on Sunday and Monday heading to Tuesday. So by the time we head into Monday, we'll watch another trough that's going to be coming in from the into the Pacific Northwest that will bring another reinforcing shot of colder air across the Intermountain West, much of California, much of Nevada, back into the deserts again, and we'll set up the same type of this weather pattern that we are going to be in this week. So we'll warm up out ahead of it, in between the cold fronts, out ahead of it. The warm air surges all the way up to the Canadian border. Much of the Central Plains is going to be well warm. That's basically getting the atmosphere readied again for this upper level low that's going to be coming in from the west. And as it gets closer and it's going to be tapping into some of that energy, it's going to bring moisture back in from the Gulf again. So we're going to be starting to increase the rain showers. We got the snow on the colder side of the storm across the Intermountain West, and then we'll have the rain coming back in the picture starting on Tuesday night. But I think during Wednesday, we'll have another similar setup of some more heavy rain spreading back in the picture of Texas, Oklahoma, back into Louisiana. Arkansas again should be picking up more heavy rain into Missouri, through good part of Iowa. Notice where the low pressure is. It's kind of way up here. It's further well north up into the Dakotas, and that will continue to lift up into Canada as we'll continue to wring out its precipitation. So you're dry in the backside. You'll follow this rain moving across from west to east. So by the time we head into Wednesday night into Thursday of next week, this is likely where the storm complex will be, with the traverse of precipitation across, Alabama through Georgia and back into Kentucky, into Ohio, as well as in areas of Michigan, up here into southern Canada. So overall, if you do the breakdown over the next 7 days, you got the complexes coming in from the Pacific Northwest. You got rain across the coast. As it pulls inland, it'll be mostly snow across the Intermountain West. And then we'll have these upper level lows. You have the one right now, and you'll likely have another one coming in early next week. That will combine with the precipitation with these, and you pick up the rain showers from here. So there's Raphael across the middle of the Gulf, and then there's the precipitation from these two upper level lows that will be moving across, one Thursday and Friday, and then the next one comes in Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So all this adds up to this where the rain spreads across the southern plains, much of the southeast, into portions of the Ohio Valley, getting into the Great Lakes, and then weakens as it pushes into the East Coast because the system's just not going to be very strong by then. It'll just wring out whatever precipitation is going to be left over, and then the pattern resets. So the snow looks like this. You got the cold side of the snow, you got the Intermountain West, and then you got the very heavy snow that's fallen. I mean, some of these are in feet, folks. Yeah, most of this is higher elevation, but still you're getting your first snows of the season in the far western portions of the western panhandle of Oklahoma, as well as into Texas. And those ski resorts are going to be loving it down there in Santa Fe. So pretty good dosing of snow across that region. But overall, the breakdown as far as temperatures go over the next week kind of looks like this. The colder air is really confined where these upper level lows are. Outside of that, you're just on the above average side for a good part of the central and eastern 2/3 of the US. And I think even heading into next week, you got that similar type setup. So you'll have these troughs coming in from the west. You'll bring the colder anomalies out west, much of California, much of the deserts. And then as it pulls through, you'll start to modify, and that's where the battle zone will be, right? So, and as it continues to further east, you're in the warmer air, mostly ridging. So it weakens as it continues to push further east, and that's exactly what's likely going to happen. So yes, it'll likely be another storm complex in the extended range as you have that trough coming in from west to east, have another similar type setup across the middle part of the country with a heavier rain setting up again back into portions of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, portions of Indiana, getting in here into western Tennessee and Kentucky from the, like, say, the 16th through the 19th time frame. So as far as like severe weather goes, it will really be aligned across the middle part of the country, but we're not looking like any like big severe weather outbreaks or anything like that. So there could be some marginal, even slight risk days across those regions from, say, the 14th through the 20th, but nothing like even significant. But as we head into the 21st through the 27th, I still think the pattern is going to continue to remain the same. Colder west, warmer east, and the battle zone will be in the middle. So as we head into your, say, Thanksgiving week, kind of looks the same. We'll likely have storm complexes in the middle part of the country through Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas again, where they're going to be getting some more likely severe weather and another dose of possibly heavy rains by then, as you'll have the cooler west and warm east likely going to continue. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch the next update while I protect you before and after the storm.